Assalamualaikum to our lecturer Sir Asri. Today we will be presenting our article review. These are our group members.
The article we have chosen to review is titled The International Court of Justice and the Territorial Dispute Between Indonesia and Malaysia in the Sulawesi Sea, written by John G. Butcher. The purpose of this article is to provide an in-depth discussion on the dispute involving Indonesia and Malaysia regarding the sovereignty over the two islands, Sipadan and Ligitan, which was then aggravated when Indonesia learned that Malaysia had built some tourist facilities on Sipadan Island. Indonesia claimed that in 1969 it reached a verbal agreement with Malaysia to discuss the issue of sovereignty over the islands, which Malaysia denied the claim of an agreement. After numerous negotiations that failed to find a solution to determine the ownership of the two islands, Indonesia and Malaysia decided to bring their case to the International Court of Justice to rule on the dispute. The main theme that we can take away from this article is the involvement of the ICJ in ruling the ownership of the two islands. The ICJ is the principal judicial organ of the United Nations. The court's role is to settle in accordance with international law, legal disputes submitted to it by states, and to give advisory opinions on legal questions referred to it by authorized UN organs and specialized agencies. The court is composed of 15 judges who are elected to serve 9 years of terms in office by the UN General Assembly and the Security Council. One of the new ideas that was being communicated in the article was the possibility to ask the ICJ to make a ruling not only on the ownership of the two islands but also on their disputed maritime boundaries. The author stated that it is possible that both governments avoided the mention of maritime boundaries since a case involving it might have brought the Philippines onto the dispute. On that note, the Philippine government requested permission to intervene in the case on the grounds that the case directly affected the maritime boundaries on the Philippines' southwestern border, but it was rejected by the ICJ after public hearings were held. As you can see on the screen, these are some of the importance to publish these ideas in journals, articles, or any form of reading and listening materials.
The research methodology that the author used was a qualitative method. The author used qualitative methodology because he obtained all the findings using articles, journals, official websites, and news. The author also interviewed Professor Hasdim Jalal, who was a former Indonesian ambassador, to obtain his findings. From the research, the basic result of findings that we obtained was the involvement of ICJ in this dispute, which also can be related with Chapter 7 of our subject. The role of ICJ in handling this dispute is very crucial. Based on this article, the author emphasized that ICJ is handling the dispute between Indonesia and Malaysia very well. The role of ICJ is also not like a mediator because ICJ cannot be dismissed. Indonesia and Malaysia both have notified the court of a special agreement between the two states. 16-1 ruling, the court decided that Ligitan Island and Sipadan Island belong to Malaysia. In this dispute, the ownership of both islands was given to Malaysia. Therefore, Indonesia need to accept the decision.
In our opinion, these are some of the strengths of this article.
The weakness of this article is the author only interviewed one person for his research, which is Professor Hasdim Jalal. We also think that this article is redundant, where there is a lot of repetition of points in this article. We also think that there is a lack of supporting details about the involvement of the ICJ. The article is not reader-friendly as the author used difficult English words in his article. This can make it hard for younger people to understand this article.
So now let's move on to the next article. The title of the second article is The Role of Multinational Corporations in Global Economic Practice, written by Isaac et al. The purpose of the article was to inform the readers about the various roles of MNCs and their importance in the global economic practice. Apart from that, this article provides a wide-range discussion of the roles of MNCs in the business world, the role of MNC in international trade in the case of Japan, the structure of Nigeria's manufacturing sector composition, globalization, and MNCs in the perspective of Nigerian business environment, perspective in the Indian economy, and Nigerian economy. The main theme of this article is the multinational corporations in global economic practice. The new ideas of this information that were communicated is that this article provides a wide range of roles of MNCs in different countries and the importance towards the global economy as well as to the home nations of multinationals and the host country. These ideas are important to be published because it can broaden the reader's knowledge as the authors have provided a wide range of discussion in this topic. This article can help the readers to know the relationship between MNCs and the global economic practice and the importance of it. The authors have provided insightful information for the readers to understand more about MNC as they play various roles in international relations.
In this article that examining the function of multinational corporation MNCs in global economic practice, we can observe that the authors use a qualitative research methodology as they focus on gathering the information from variety of literature. The author used a qualitative method in examining the topic as it allows the authors to conduct in-depth exploration of a particular phenomenon. The function of multinational corporation MNCs in global economic practice was examined in this research. By using data from variety of literature, the authors claim that multinational emerge as a result of their involvement in the export of commodities, goods and services. The authors' findings are in line with evidence from new research studies that regard multinational corporations as engines of economic and national progress. The authors found that MNCs have been associated with bribery, incentive and alleged corruption in order to gain a competitive advantage. It can be concluded that the authors used a qualitative method to reach the research conclusion.
Next, the basic result and finding in this article is more focusing on the importance and role that the MNC play when it comes to global economic practices and ways that they have implemented to cope and adapt with the trends of business world. Moreover, the article is very useful for readers to determine the relationship between MNC and the global economic development and how it is important to be known. The strength that can be stated in this article is where every point that had been written by the authors is supported by various supporting details from other articles. Moreover, the articles is very informative where there are a lot of references that had been used to write the article. However, this article had its weaknesses where it is not following the correct rules of using acronyms in the article. Acronyms are often used in academic literature to avoid using long and complex names. Moreover, the other weaknesses in this article, there are repetition regarding the definition of MC. In this perspective, it makes the article not well organized and will make the reader confused on finding their main ideas on why the article had been written. That's all from our group. Thank you.